there is a wound in the country that stems from the indigenous population currently holding less economic options, having less access to a good education, and having less experiencing less social mobility. So in a way, I think that rural voters and indigenous voters feel that they're they're kind of being played by the system, not just by this event, but by the wider circumstances. So I think that you cannot really understand this protest without looking at the history of Peru, looking at Peruvian inequality, and looking at the frustration that rural voters expressed with their vote for Pedro Castillo. Castillo's vote was a vote of protest and of hoping to change things in a way that altered the current racial and social hierarchies of the country. So that process, of course, collapsed, didn't work out. And I think that long-standing frustrations are coming out right now. There's also the issue to consider that the president, Dina Boluarte, and Congress has argued that protesters are being led by terrorist groups. And you have to remember that Peru is a country that was turned by terrorism and by an internal armed conflict in the 80s and 90s. So this doesn't really sit well with a lot of people, particularly since the people that are being accused of terrorism or of being manipulated by terrorists were the exact same towns and areas that were ravaged by terrorism in the 80s and 90s.